Hello and welcome to UC Today. My name is Christopher Carey and today I'm joined by Candice Thompson, a Silicon Valley-based psychotherapist specializing in workplace mental health, with a focus on tech industry professionals navigating burnout, anxiety, and the psychological impact of AI-driven change. We're going to be discussing the growing impact of AI on workers, from rising expectations and burnout to how it's reshaping anxiety, identity and well-being in the modern workplace. Candice, thank you for joining me today. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to share about this topic.
Absolutely. So, just diving into it, where do you stand on the whole AI reduces burnout promise that we're being sold?
Well, so far it's not what I'm seeing. So like you said, I'm located in the heart of the Silicon Valley. So I have, this is the water I'm swimming in. My friends are in tech. My clients are largely in tech. And so because of this, I've done a lot of research around AI and did a TED Talk in the fall around this subject. So I'd like to think I've got a really front row view. And you're right, the marketing messages is, if you don't use AI, you're going to be left behind. And look how wonderful it is at offloading all of these, work tasks. And maybe that works for some people. I'm a therapist, so I like to say that everything is on a spectrum. And I'm sure there'll be people listening out there that say, yes, this is automating, emails and scheduling and different marketing tools for me that is helpful. However, what I see with tech individuals is this is actually currently causing a lot more work. So the expectations have risen because that thought of you can get so much more done now is rising how much you're supposed to produce. But you have to realize this is new technology. So you have companies that are pivoting from whatever projects they were doing before the AI has gotten to the point that it is today. And now the expectation is that all these companies have a huge automated arm to it. And so that takes a lot of time and work and effort to take all of your systems that, maybe had some automation, but putting them over to these platforms and having, code and different work being used solely or produced solely by the artificial intelligence. So that actually causes a lot of work. And so probably what we'll get into as well is you've got the work happening and then you have layoffs happening. So, individuals are seeing their coworkers who were performing well get laid off, and they're building these tools. They're reading the AI news. They're on the front lines as well. And so they know that the goal of these companies is to cut a large chunk of the workforce in this industry specifically. So we have other industries that, maybe the thought is one day this is coming for your job. But right now, these individuals in technology are building the tools that they are seeing in real time taking jobs, and those layoffs are coming. Like some of them are already happening, as we could see with like Oracle recently laid off a large chunk of the population. And some of that's normal for the Silicon Valley. There's a cycle through of, layoffs and then hiring fresh talent. But the idea here is that these jobs are no longer going to be necessary. So you have these high-paying individuals who were, largely scouted for their skill set that might not be as necessary in the coming future. So you have this existential crisis that's happening at the same time as you're working so hard to prove your worth by working fast to get this tool to work properly to take your job. It's quite an interesting thing to view, to be walking with clients and friends through.
One thing you just mentioned there about the expectations, do you think that employers have a grasp on how much time AI is supposedly saving employees, or do they overestimate? Do they think that their employees have all this time on their hands when they actually don't?
So all of my thoughts are going to be opinion and based on, anecdotal evidence and things that I've read around this subject. But I do see a disconnect. I see a disconnect between higher level executives and management believing and buying into this messaging that, AI is the wave of the future, we have to realize that a lot of these companies are also investing in the tech. So they have something on the line here to make it work. So they're bought in. They're bought in, and they need it to work to get that big pay investment at the end. So I'm not sure that there's an awareness or maybe even a real consideration for how much work that takes, because the investment is so high. And if AI failed, we're looking at like global economy collapses. So we've got ourselves into quite a pickle.
I mean, from working with your clients, what is the primary concern related to AI? Is it related to layoffs, or is it the day-to-day stress that it causes, or is it something else?
I think it's both. That what people experience right now is the day-to-day, right? So the higher work expectations, the stress, having people laid off, and maybe not the AI actually fulfilling 100% of that person's job. So a lot more work demand. And then this, in the background, fear of what does this mean for my identity, my work identity, my purpose. A lot of conversations around switching careers, or what do I do if this career is no longer even available or desired in the marketplace. Yeah.
So you touched on something there. I mean, how is AI changing how people see their value at work?
Yeah, I mean, that's the fear. Living within that fear of right now feeling very valuable, but working towards something that is automating your job. And there's a tension in that. And so I think people wanting to work really hard to be noticed for what they're doing, but you're literally building the thing that's going to take over for you. So that, fortunately, that's not what I'm, working on myself, but I can imagine and put myself in that headspace of how scary that probably feels. And yeah, wanting to have your worth in the moment be one thing, but knowing you're working yourself out of a job.
And I mean, looking at the tech leaders, looking at the people at the top, what do you think they get wrong about how they view AI's impact on workers?
I think that they're so focused on the excitement. Silicon Valley, innovation, there's a sex appeal to that. It's glitzy, there's money involved, there's this possibility of trillions of dollars and reshaping industry. And of course, there's this hope for what the technology can do and all the innovation and discovery. And so I think if you are so focused on that, and that's a messaging that you're driving home, and that's what you're working on at that level, then there's not this connection with what does that feel like to the human. And this is not a news story. It's a tale as old as time, having the people that are making the largest money from an industry being disconnected from workers. But certainly if I was talking to people in a C-suite right now, I would want them to make that connection. We also don't want a huge, revolt to happen, or people that are working on the tech to get to a point where they're, wanting to harm it in any way, or, leave it. I don't know if you've heard this recently, but in San Francisco, Sam Altman's home has been attacked twice in the last week. So, an individual threw a Molotov cocktail at his, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Is that right?
Molotov cocktail.
Thank you. At his home. And then days later, someone shot at his home. I mean, that's so scary. And it seems like a reaction to, right, you are reshaping our world in a way that we might not want and might not buy into. I wish that leaders could slow down. And I get it. I really do understand the race of being the best. And these companies are pitted against one another. And a lot of their valuation right now is based on the impression of viability and how far they are comparatively to other companies. However, is that the best thing for humanity and the people on the ground who are loyal workers? And it's hard to see individuals who have loved their companies and put years and years into them, and to feel that people around them are getting fired for no reason, and knowing the work ethic of the people that are getting fired and the work that they're producing. I mean, how scary it creates this idea of there's no predictable way of trying to save your job. You just put your nose to the ground and work as hard as you can and hope that you last longer than the people around you.
And that's interesting what you said there about the backlash. Do you think there's a possibility for, as we go on, for that backlash to grow, or even potentially for workers who are working in AI to sabotage in some way the progress to protect themselves?
I would hope that leaders are at least considering that. I mean, you would have to be really disconnected to not put together the fear that people are having and all of these, quotes that the largest CEOs like Sam Altman, the founders of Anthropic, and all the big guys are making around the fact that AI could, one, destroy humanity in the next 5 years. That's wild. No one wants to be extinct. And then the practical day-to-day, how this is going to affect the economy and all of these white-collar jobs. It would be silly not to sit down and have these hard conversations around, are we putting ourselves in a position that we can be, yes, harmed or have retaliation? That would make sense to see that kind of resistance that could be coming.
And I mean, do you think, what would actually make AI improve employee well-being, or is that possible?
That's a great question. AI as a tool can be fantastic if we're seeing AI not as a replacement for humanity, and we see this with chatbot relationships as well. This stickiness of what's the risks and harms to mental health are when we're seeing AI as a replacement for people. That's dangerous for our society. But if we could see AI as a tool, great, this can make an email be written faster. But we need humans. You should go through and read that email and make sure that you're responding to the right thing. And AI is not that accurate yet. It's not. And it's outside of time. And it doesn't have, accurate visual sight. There's all these things that AI can't do yet. And I think the humans on the ground also know that, so that marketing message also doesn't fit today. But if we could use it as a tool for what it's good at today, and then have realistic expectations for it. Now, in my industry, the marketing messages is, okay, record your sessions, and then you get these automated progress notes. And look how much time you save a therapist. Now, most of my work is one-on-one, and that's not going to save me a lot of time. Also, there's the ethical implications. I don't think that therapists should record their sessions because, that data and privacy, there's all this other conversation around it. But the work itself, if this AI is currently hallucinating and only has, an 80-something% accuracy rate, then the time that it takes to go through and read what AI has produced and to correct it, that's a big part of the work right now. I hear that even among coders, that AI makes mistakes too. And so if you're not writing that code, you would know when you're writing it kind of where to find those bugs, because that's your code that you put into place. If AI put into place, then it's harder to go through and find it. And so the errors and actually tasks that it's producing, if you're using it well, you should be double checking your work because it's not that accurate. I read there was the Hoover Institute out of Stanford put out a paper on March 31st, where they said on that day alone, they found 17 different court cases where AI had hallucinated on just that one day alone that they found. And so we're not looking at a, perfect tool right now that is going to automate everything. So if you could use it as a tool and learn alongside of it, then I think it's not a threat to workers and it can help in certain ways. I certainly appreciate it for, just checking my grammar before sending something off, or brainstorming, or a way to find research, or there's ways it could be used as a nice tool. But that would be my hope, is like, can we shift the conversation? I think it's moving way too fast to shift the conversation. But for those that are listening and want to integrate it in a sustainable way, which is going to be the best thing for your company, is sustainability, then slow down and really be thinking about where this tech is at, how people are responding to it, and then implement your organizational restructuring accordingly.
So interesting times ahead, I think. Thank you very much, Candice, for joining us today. And if you like this video, please give us a like and a share on social media, and we'll see you next time. I've been Christopher Carey for UC Today. Thanks for watching.